I felt this. If you've ever been blindsided, subscribe with notifications on so you never miss a story that rips your heart out. Now, turn off the lights, pour something strong, and let me tell you about the afternoon my marriage ended in a single text bubble. I was elbow deep in spreadsheets when my phone buzzed on the desk, like a hornet trapped under glass. One glance at the preview, and the numbers on my screen blurred into meaningless gray soup. Sarah Redart, just having coffee with a friend. Hot beverage, catching up. Miss you. The little heart emoji she still used after 8 years sat there like a joke written in someone else's handwriting. My thumbs hovered over the screen, frozen. Something sour crawled up my throat. Not suspicion yet, just a prickling, the way you feel a storm before the first drop falls. I typed, deleted, typed again. My pulse thumped in my ears like a warning drum. Me tell him I said hi. Me actually asked him if his wife liked the photos from the lake house weekend. 3 dots appeared, vanished. I watched. 37 seconds of nothing stretched into 37 years. Sarah Redart. What photos? And that's when the room tilted. There were no photos from any lake house weekend. Not with us. But 6 months ago, she'd come home sun-kissed, glowing, saying she went up north with the girls to unplug. She'd show me pictures, laughing on a dock, holding a wine glass against the sunset, Jenna's arm around her shoulder. I'd liked every single one. Told her she looked happy. I remember thinking my wife had never been more beautiful. Now those same pictures felt radioactive. Me the ones where you're wearing my gray hoodie. The one you said got ruined in the wash. Me funny how it came back from the lake house without a single stain. The typing dots never returned. I stared until the letters burned into my eyes. My hands shook so hard the phone clattered against the desk. 8 years. 2 miscarriages we cried through together. The night we slow danced in the kitchen to a song we couldn't name, because the baby we finally had was asleep in the next room. All of it collapsed inside me like a building hit with silent explosives. I called her, straight to voicemail. Her laugh, the one that told me to leave a message, the same recording she'd had since college. I hung up, dialed again, and again, and again. Each unanswered ring carved something deeper out of me. Then the text came. Sarah Redart, can we talk when I get home? Please. No denial, no frantic explanation. Just that soft little please, the one she used when she already knew she'd lost. I left the office without telling anyone, drove home with the windows down, so the November air could slap me awake. Every love song on the radio felt like a personal attack. I replayed the timeline in my head, how tired she'd been last spring, how she'd started locking her phone, how she flinched when I touched her back in the mornings like my hands were foreign. I sat in the driveway for an hour, engine off, watching our porch light flicker, like it always did when the bulb was about to die. Finally, her SUV pulled in. The headlights swept across the garage like searchlights. She killed the engine but didn't get out. I watched her silhouette head against the steering wheel. Eventually, the driver's door opened. She walked slowly toward the house, like moving through water. Her eyes were puffy, mascara smudged into bruises. When she saw me in the dark, she stopped 10 feet away. Jake. My name cracked in her throat. I couldn't speak. My tongue felt glued to the roof of my mouth. She hugged herself, rocking slightly. It wasn't supposed to happen. The words were so small, so utterly pathetic. They should have been funny. They weren't. How long? My voice came out raw and scraped. She looked at the ground. Since April. 7 months. 7 months of her kissing me goodnight, while someone else's cologne lingered in her hair. 7 months of me packing her favorite lunch on nights she worked late. 7 months of making love to a woman who was already gone. His wife. I asked. Her shoulders curled inward. She found out last week. That's why you sent the coffee text. I laughed, the sound scaring even me. Damage control, in case. She reached out to me first. Tears rolled down her cheeks, untouched. I was at end it tonight. I swear I walked in to end it, but she hadn't. She had no answer for that. We stood in the cold while the porch light finally gave up and died, plunging us into darkness. I wanted to scream, to shove her, to drop to my knees and beg her to unchoose him. Instead, I heard myself say the words that ended us. Pack a bag. You're not sleeping here tonight. Jake, now Sarah. She walked past me into the house like a ghost. I stayed on the porch, listening to drawers opening and closing upstairs, the soft thud of her suitcase, the jangle of her keys. 20 minutes later, she came back down, carrying the overnight bag we bought for our honeymoon. She paused at the door. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "I never meant to hurt you." "You didn't hurt me," I said, surprised by how steady my voice was. "You deleted me." The door shut behind her with a click that sounded exactly like a coffin lid. I don't know how long I stood there. Long enough for the neighbor's sprinklers to soak my shoes. Long enough for our daughter's nightlight across the street to flicker off at the babysitter's. When I finally went inside, the house smelled like her perfume and the lie we'd been living. I opened my phone, stared at that coffee text one last time, then screenshot it, cropped out the heart emoji she no longer deserved, and sent it to the one person who needed to see it. His wife replied instantly, "Thank you. I owe you." I turned off the phone, poured 3 fingers of the bourbon we'd been saving for Lily's high school graduation, and sat in the dark until the bottle was empty and the pain finally went numb. Somewhere around 4 a.m., I realized the worst part wasn't that she cheated. The worst part was that I still loved her enough to hope she'd fight to come home. She never did. If the story gutted you, smash that like button until it breaks. Share it with someone who needs to hear they're not crazy for feeling what they feel. Subscribe, because the next one might be the one that saves you when you think nothing can. Turn on the bell. I'll be here when you need.